Hello and welcome to another episode of the Leo Alves podcast. And on today's episode, I have Beth Feraco with me, and
Yep.
I hope I pronounced that correctly. And
You
I'm really
did.
excited to have her on. I won't say too much. I'll let her introduce herself, and then we'll go from there because I've got a whole lot I really want to discuss.
Okay. My name is Beth Wilkes Feraco. I live in Maine. I'm a mom to a 13-year-old boy, a wife to my high school sweetheart, which is a very long story. Um, I'm a recovering alcoholic of almost 10 years. I am a strength, nutrition, and mindset coach, and I own Beth Feraco Fitness, Team BFF, and we help women, actually more than just women, all over the world. Ditch yo-yo dieting, get strong, build a healthy relationship with food, and just, become their best selves.
Yeah, I love that. And yeah, there's a yeah, there's a I know you do a lot. Like you have a lot going for you, like it's really admirable. And before we get deeper in, I know I already said this over email, but like I really wanted to apologize from last month as well, where we had the podcast episode scheduled and I was like, fantastic. I've sent her the link. I've been waiting for a month. I'm really looking forward to this chat. Nothing's
Yeah,
gonna stop me. And then the day arrives. Like, and then it's like the only ever like modern
blackout.
European blackout has ever in history ever happens. And I'm like,
How
of
wild.
course that would fucking happen. Like on the one day, like, and I was like, oh, of course. And I remember at first I was like, oh, I won't say anything just yet. I hope it comes back soon. Like, I'm sure everything will be okay. Like, I'm
Hmm.
sure they're like two big countries are well, not compared to the US, but like in European relative size, is that they're working to sort it out. And then it was getting
Hmm.
closer, and I was like, my wife goes, "You probably should give her a heads up." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't think this is gonna happen." And yeah, it took
Oh my
like almost a whole
gosh.
day. And I was like, I hope this is making the news out there because to her, this might sound like the most random thing ever. But yeah, so
No, it did
oh yeah.
actually. I was like, wow. Yeah, it didn't, not for a couple more hours later, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So thanks for
No
rescheduling.
need to apologize. Of course. Yeah. I mean, that was honestly like crazy.
Yeah. It was interesting to live even just like for like just that day with like zero electricity anywhere, like no public transport, no banking,
Right?
no paying with card, just no nothing. Like that was really interesting. And
How long did that last?
only a day, one day, like
Okay.
like maybe about 18, 20 hours. It kind of depends where you were in the country.
Okay.
But I think about a day overall because then it came back for a bit and then it went again. But it
Hmm.
was really it was an experience. And one thing it really did show me was how much we always say this, but until you're faced with it firsthand, how much it has like taken over like just technology. Because I didn't
Yeah.
even,
It's
yeah,
frightening.
just like my phone, my laptop. I was like, you know what? I don't even care. Just put it away. Like I didn't need it.
Yeah.
There was nothing I could even use it for at that point. Because I couldn't
Right.
charge it. So yeah, like yeah, once it was done. Anyway, let me not talk too much. We're here for you. So
That's all
so
good.
I am a big fan of like well, right now I'm going through like I really like the Threads social media app. So I was looking through like
Hmm.
a bunch of your posts, and I was like, I'm gonna pick a few of Beth's posts that I really like here. Um, and I
Hmm.
was like, and I'm just gonna read them out loud because I think they're fucking
Okay.
funny and they're true as well. So
I'm not on
like
Threads that much. I've just been recently back on like
I
I'm like fucking around on there. So
Yeah, but even like I was looking at your Instagram profile where I think you would like upload some like tweets or something. So I was trying to get like
yes.
a bit of both, and
Okay.
I was like, okay, this is fun. Let's talk about this. So I'll read them out, and then you can maybe like just share what your thoughts were behind why
Okay.
you wrote it, and maybe yeah, what the hell was going on there? Because I agree, and I know what you might say, but I'm sure you've got a lot more to it. So first one.
Yeah.
Red
Okay.
dye free is being banned. Yay! What a difference this will make on all the foods Americans shouldn't be focused on eating anyway. Makes total sense. Idiocracy. So,
Hmm.
what was going on there with why you
It's
decided
just
to
the
post that?
because the things that we here in the United States are focusing on, I mean, I didn't vote for any of these people, so count me out. Count me the fuck out on that, right? But they're focusing on basically like anti-scientific, like MAHA wellness. Like think of like if anyone's familiar, if you are on social media and you know who like Bobby Flav City is, like people like that are running our country basically. If when you think about it, just um pseudoscience type stuff. And so Great. If you want to take dyes out of food, that's fine. But literally, like red dye, or what is it? The three color
The
or whatever they're doing.
red dye 3.
Um, red dye three. Yeah, that's in like shit that no one fucking eats, like candy and like all this. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, why are you focusing on that and making such a big deal on that when there's people like that are hungry that can't get food right now? Like we need to focus on things that actually fucking matter. And so that's where that came from. It's frustrating because they're missing the forest for the trees.
I felt like I was quite lucky because I actually hadn't heard of her until she had been put in that position. I can't remember her name, but
Casey
and then
Means.
everyone was like speaking about her and
Hmm.
her background, and then there is RFK Jr. who I know he's going.
Yes.
I hear about it a lot. I know
Yeah.
he's going after seed oils like crazy, and
Yeah. It's
and
like, wow.
like
Anti-science.
yeah. Well, what were you going to say? Sorry.
Anti-science. I don't know
Yeah,
what I was
yeah.
going to say before that, but it's actually they're like getting rid of a lot of people that research and people things that are very, very important for us in the United States. And it's quite frightening actually.
Hmm. Yeah,
So,
like I've been looking at it myself. Obviously, like I'm sure not to as much depth as potentially a lot of Americans because I'm not in the US, but there were like I know the seed oil thing because one thing I remember seeing, and like fuck it, we can get political here, it's whatever. That I was like that doesn't make too much sense to me. Like I remember they were saying, oh, we took seed oils out of Chick-fil-A. And I was just like, but what, how, what type of,
oh,
like, you can't
right,
be
right.
parading like, or Chick-fil-A using less seed oils and then parading that as a win. Like, if you're getting
Like they're
Chick-fil-A, you're
using
still getting fucking
tallow
Chick-fil-A.
oil. Like
Yeah. And then,
you're still frying it, right? It's
and
like that is what causes obesity.
yeah, and and I was just like that just yeah that doesn't make sense to me. And I've heard actually they didn't cut it out completely. I think it goes through like I haven't verified this, but something like it goes through 2 rounds of frying, and the first one is still seed oil,
Yeah.
so they're still putting seed
Yes, you're
oils.
right.
It's just the
Hmm.
second one is now.
Now in
I
tallow oil. Yeah.
I'm baffled at
It's
that.
it's really like if you were someone that actually had brain cells, you would not you would kind of just like see what's happening. But some people are super brainwashed about this whole thing. So yeah.
Yeah, it's very polarizing. I know American politics.
Hmm.
If let's
I
say,
know.
like, before we do go to the next one, I think this could be like quite just a fun, quick chat if you have any. Like, let's say,
Hmm.
okay, what's one thing that you think that they should focus on in regard to making nutrition in the US better? What do you think? And it could be anything,
Oh.
however small or big, do you think could be a good shout?
Oh, man, there's so much. Where do I begin? I think food deserts, which people don't really understand, is quite, there's a lot of them. And that just means that certain people in certain areas don't have access to actually grocery stores with fresh food. So they're having to get their meals from gas stations or, stock up for like a month. And so you're getting food that has to be obviously more highly processed so it could last longer. So if I could do anything would be to try to make sure that we actually had grocery stores in places where people did not have access to food, or if we had some way of making sure that food deserts did not exist, you know?
Mm,
So I think that's a huge issue that no one talks about. They don't think about the people that, don't have access, right? It's always the people that have a lot of access.
yeah, I that does bring up actually that's a brilliant point because that reminds me of the one thing that I went, I've been to the US a few times now. I remember on one very distinct occasion with my friends from the UK as well. And we were in, I can't remember where it was. It was in the middle of nowhere. And we were in a
Hmm.
Walmart, and I will never ever forget until this day, I talk about years later, that the Walmart, you could not buy fresh fruits and vegetables, but you could buy
Mm.
guns, which I don't know how normal that is in the US, but I was like just absolutely
Wow.
mind blown at that. Um,
Yeah.
as yeah, just in Europe, like, because I was like, I think that's wild that you just can't buy fruits and vegetables. But man, like, you're sorted if you want a gun. So I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, that is. I have not seen that area. I'm trying to think of where that could be. Where was that?
It
Was
was
it
it was
Texas?
it was I think it was very remote Vermont, or it was upstate New
Okay.
York, remote New York, like very it
Oh,
was a
wow.
very remote area. Um
Okay.
yeah, I don't remember where.
That's
Again,
so
this was like
crazy.
7 years ago now.
Okay.
But yeah, it was just but Texas is like that too, because I've been there
Yeah.
as well. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it is interesting. Anyway, on to the next one, and I really like this one, and I think you do too, because I've seen you repost it a few times. So what's worse than trying to
Hmm.
get a toddler to eat a veggie,
Mm.
trying to convince adults to actually eat a veggie? You're not a fucking toddler. Season that shit.
Hmm. Yeah.
What was the thoughts
Did
there?
it, um, so many people complain about their vegetables, right? I just can't, I don't like vegetables. You sound like a toddler. That's like my son. I don't like veggies, mom. Yeah, well, you haven't had my roasted broccoli, okay? Do you know what I mean? It's like people, they don't get curious and fuck around and find out in the kitchen. They just set out like, I don't like this. And when you can make so many, there's how many vegetables in the world? There's a ton. I mean, there's probably a few hundred or more different types of vegetables. So it's like we need our fiber, we need our micronutrients. It is very important to fuel your body with vegetables, you know? So you kind of have to suck it the fuck up.
Hmm.
Stop acting like a little baby and season that shit, you know?
Why do you think
That's what
that's
I
quite
say.
common? Like, why a lot of people do say, I don't like veg. Like, why do you think so many people grow up feeling like that or thinking like that?
Probably because their parents didn't like veggies either, and they didn't give them to them either, you know?
Hmm.
That's what I mean. You kind of like if you grow up around eating vegetables, I feel that you will ultimately eat vegetables. Like I just make sure my son he has to choose either a fruit or a vegetable on his plate. And he may stick to the same vegetables, but at least he's eating those vegetables. You know, he knows that they're important. So I just think it's you got to drive it home from your home and also in the schools, you know.
Yeah.
And I think people just really don't know how to cook, don't want to cook, don't have the time to cook. And those are a few excuses, you know.
Mhm.
I
And
can't afford it either is another one. And it's like, well, you can buy frozen vegetables actually, and those, you know, canned. Don't shy from canned or frozen. Just as good, if not
and
better.
yeah, and some people like to shit on that, which is just bizarre.
It's mind blowing. Yeah, it's like, no, they just froze the vegetable and put it in a fucking bag. That's literally, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that'll last longer if you're going to complain about the food going bad.
Yeah, and I can imagine with the size of your audience as well, because this absolutely happens to me, and yours is like
Hmm.
just huge, like compared to mine is. I am always surprised at how fucking just um like polarizing isn't the word I'm looking for, but just how much
Hmm.
like people you get some people who are like when you say something like, oh, fruits are good for you, vegetables are good for you, you should eat fruits and vegetables, like that's surprisingly just like controversial line to a
Oh
few.
my God.
Yeah,
Not if you're a diabetic. I'm like,
uh,
then don't fucking
yeah,
eat it then. I'm not talking to you, but actually you should be eating your fruits and vegetables. I mean, that fiber, you know, it's like, I feel like some people that do have diabetes aren't even educated about their own disease, which is very sad. That's very telling about how we educate our you know, patients apparently in the United States. If you are diagnosed with a disease like diabetes and you don't get any counseling or help, or you don't decide that you should probably figure out how to manage it, right? You would know that fruits and vegetables are not bad, that you should probably pair them with a protein. Um, so it's just like when people fight me on it, it's just like you said, it's baffling. It's like these are fruits and vegetables. I'm not talking about a fucking Pop Tart right now, you know? But you'll get, I mean, I'll get so many like when I make videos about fruit or anything, like hate comments about fruit. It's so wild. I'm like, is this actual really real life right now?
yeah, and I'm sure it's growing a lot because of carnivore's popularity too. I'm sure that's a big thing
Yes.
to do with it, which
Hmm.
yeah, like I'm sure you've got a whole lot to say about that too.
That's a whole cult. The if you have to like diet or label yourself with like your diet, there's something going on there. There's something not right. Like my name is Carnivore Beth. I like my whole page is based off my diet. That's fucking crazy.
I
Would you,
100%
would
agree.
you think, right?
I've always said like, and that's the post I'll sometimes make is like, if like you have to take someone's advice with a pinch of salt, if they've got the way they eat in their username, in their bio, in their pinned post, in their profile picture,
Oh yeah.
in their link, like
Yeah.
it's bizarre, and I that is probably like the biggest red flag as to how you can like filter out just someone who's probably going to say some sort of
Right, right.
bullshit. Yeah, and the thing is, like these type of nutrition trends, because it is that, it's just a trend.
Yeah.
They go in a they go in cycles. I'm
Hmm.
29, so even now, like I can see some of when I was like really young coming back and becoming more popular. I
Hmm.
don't know if carnivore's been around before like this.
I don't feel like it has. I feel like it's a new thing since, like 2020, like the Liver King and when all those people got on and started growing on social media, I feel like that's when that started.
Because keto was kind of isn't that like just the same as Atkins, which was
It's
popular?
Yeah, and Atkins became keto, and keto is kind of like morphed into carnivore, right? That's what I feel like too, for sure.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. Well, it will soon. I'm sure carnivore will die down, and then there's something else that's bizarre that's going to take its place.
The sugar diet, have you heard of that one?
No, enlighten
Oh
me.
yeah, the all sugar diet is happening now. So keep your eyes out. All serious. Like look at Mark Bell. I don't know if you're familiar with Mark Bell.
I've heard.
Yeah, so look him up in his recent videos. And now that is like starting a trend with a lot of 25, 30-year-old males starting to go on that sugar diet. So, and
Okay,
I wish I was fucking making this shit up, but I'm not.
I have an idea of how it might go, but just to be sure, like, what does this diet consist of?
That's a good question. I
Because
don't really know for sure because
all
I haven't really done the full research on it, but
the all sugar diet, I can imagine.
um
So I'm going to assume that everything you eat, all sugar diet. I'm just going to type that in because I'm really curious.
yeah, look at because I can't really actually tell you, but I don't think it's eating candy and stuff.
Okay.
It's like just things
Okay,
here.
so the AI overview on Google is like TLDR, consuming a diet where the primary source of energy and nutrients is sugar, um, and
I'm
uh,
guessing
and
like
and then it's
carbohydrates like rice
uh,
and oats and things like that. I'm guessing.
and then it instantly transitions into why this is not recommended, and then it just
Mhm.
basically all just says why you shouldn't do this. So it doesn't actually talk about it too much. It just says what the all sugar diet is, and then it goes straight into why you should not do this, which is quite interesting. Um,
Interesting.
um, yeah.
Let me
It,
see. Sugar diet. Sugar Diet in Under 10 Minutes by Mark Bell. Um, yeah, so we'll have to, I wish I had a, do you have Chat GPT?
I do.
Is that where you're,
Yeah,
um,
I was on Google AI. Okay, so
ask about Mark Bell and the all sugar diet. Because I have a 10-minute thing on YouTube, but I can't, okay. Oh, here it's broke down on Instagram. Okay, okay. Oh, how did I lose it that quick? Hold on one second. I'll read this to you when I get it. Um,
okay, see
okay.
it.
My version of the sugar diet in 30 seconds. Carbs, 500 to
Oh,
1,000 carbs. I don't count. I just eat fruit juice, sugar, honey. Protein, only 100 grams. If it's not lean as chicken breast, I don't buy it. 99% lean turkey, shrimp, bay scallops. Fats, 0 to 30 grams a day. I'm doing this every day and I'm continuing to learn the diet. Oh, what in the hell?
that's bizarre.
Um, I'm not trying to lose muscle, nor do I want to. Most of the time when somebody starts to get this lean is when they start to feel like shit from their diet, but I don't think that'll happen with the sugar diet. This is not a diet where you're aiming to be in a caloric deficit. Fruit by day, lean meat and veg by night. No fat, no protein, no starch. No chance you won't see significant weight loss. Try this diet for 72 hours and report back. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like people like that, like him, who has a really huge, platform, is doing this all sugar diet that he most likely made up on his own. And now everyone's going to try it. It's like a fucking trend.
Hmm. Yeah,
So,
I was actually curious about just purely for, I don't know, hypotheticals, like what do you think would be the might be the next fad diet, even though they can be
there
so unpredictable, but there we go.
we go.
You
Found one for you.
Yeah, that's really bizarre. Yeah, that does sound like and the low fat part, like 0 to 30 grams, like
That's honestly for a
concerning.
woman, that's very harmful because I shouldn't go under 50 grams of fat per day for hormonal health. So 0 to 30, oof.
Mm. Yeah. Did you have anything else you wanted to add before I go on to the next one?
No, I don't think
Okay.
so.
Okay, so uh convenience is making us fat and lazy. Online
Mm,
shopping, elevators, Instacart, DoorDash, paper plates, I can go on. In a world of convenience, you need to purposely look to be inconvenienced to get more movement in.
yeah.
What were the thoughts there?
Ooh, um, just thinking about how when I grew up in the 70s, because I'm 52, that convenience has actually made people sedentary. So, when I grew up, we didn't have Uber Eats, we didn't have really much delivery even, I don't even think. You know what I'm saying? Like we mostly made our meals at home. Everyone had like factory jobs or jobs that you were like a laborer. The kids were on their screens. We were outside all day, every day till it was dark. You just moved more. I mean, it's apparent as I grew up through the ages and as technology increased and increased, you would just see the decline in movement, just naturally because of these things that are convenient, right? And then COVID happens and you have even more convenience. You're getting into the more online shopping, the more delivery. No one is fucking, you don't have to leave your house. You can get your food, your groceries delivered. Everything can be delivered. You can go on Amazon, deliver. Like you don't have to leave your house. So we're moving so much less. And we have an obesity problem because of that. That is a main reason. And no one really discusses that. I don't think about the convenience part of no one's getting adequate steps a day because no one moves. You don't have to. So you really do have to inconvenience yourself to move. So I do my own grocery shopping. Everything I do, I don't get delivery as much as possible at all. I do live in a rural area in Maine, so I do shop on Amazon. But if I can go into a store, I will. I do as much as I can. Like parking far away from the entrance of the gym, not taking the escalator and taking the stairs. So I know I'm doing whatever I can, to make sure I'm moving more. So that's where that really came. It's like everyone has people do everything for them. So they're ultimately really not moving as much as they should. And guess what? NEAT, which is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, burns the most calories, right? Besides our just sitting here living.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and I even find just from my visits to the US, like the US is extremely it's just convenience based. Like
yeah.
especially compared to living in Southern Europe, at least right now, like Southern Europe still like has those things and it's catching up to it to those things. But for example, a lot of it, like just yeah, the US states, yeah, it's very convenient based,
Oh
and
yeah.
um and then on top of that, I know not probably like outside of a lot of major cities, but a lot of it is just like set up to drive everywhere.
Hmm.
Walking, at least when I visited Texas, in and around Houston, like walking's unheard of. And
Yeah.
so you either
Unless
got
you
a
live in like New York City,
mm,
where, that's a very walkable city. And so if you live in New York City, you probably walk 20,000 steps a day. But everybody else that does not, you're driving.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and if you want food, like you said, you either have to go and drive and get it, or you have to order takeout. Because it's just not like what I can do here is like just go on a 10-minute walk and be at my favorite restaurant, or and have a variety of options. So yeah, it is very convenience based. What would you say? And maybe you might end up repeating some of what you've already said earlier, but if the listener maybe does want to lose, let's say, some body fat and they want to improve their health, and they're like, okay, that makes sense. What are some maybe what are some things I should start implementing to inconvenience my routine a bit more to help me get into shape?
Hmm. I would say look for reasons to move rather than not. Like I said, like park far away from the entrance of the grocery store, park far away from the entrance of the gym, maybe get on the treadmill 10 minutes before your workout, maybe get on the treadmill 10 minutes after your workout, taking the stairs, doing your dishes, vacuuming, doing your own, like doing your laundry, just doing things around your house. Even, not having someone come and clean your fucking house for you. I mean, I feel like we just have everything do things for us. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's like something that is necessary for you, like you would fucking die without doing it. But there's a lot of things that we take for granted that we just have people do when we could do them ourselves. And you really need to think about that. Like I was able to get 10,000 steps a day when I drove from Maine to Florida, which we drove almost 8 to 10 hours a day. It took us 3 days to get there. But I walked like every rest stop that we went to. My husband parked far away from the entrance, and I paced the parking lot. I would get up early before everyone did at the hotel, and I would walk for 30 minutes, 45 minutes on the treadmill. You just really have to think outside of the box how much you can move rather than not. Like,
Yeah,
but
and
even buying a treadmill if you work at home. Um, I should say a walking pad. Those are much more quieter.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they're becoming increasingly popular, and I think they're great. I haven't used one,
Yeah.
but from what I've heard, they can be really good,
Yeah.
and I think cheaper than a treadmill as well, which is
hmm
also great alongside
And
its.
more very convenient, and you can roll them around. So you can roll it into your living room while you're watching TV. Do that at the same time as you want to do something else. You want to listen to a podcast, watch a Netflix show, get on your walking pad. Do kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah, yeah, and but yeah, I 100% agree. Hence why I read it out about yeah, just having to inconvenience yourself a bit more or just take the longer way. Um,
hmm
yeah, like even one thing I used to sometimes say, like living in London, for example, if you wanted to increase your step count, was like if you're taking the bus or the underground, maybe get off one step early or get on one step later and that kind of ways. Just small ways like that, park further away, as you said, maybe from the grocery store,
Yeah.
and yeah, just little things like that can really help with increasing
Oh,
step
yeah.
count. Yeah. Was there
Yep.
anything else you wanted to add before I go to the next one?
No, you can go to the next one.
Okay, where are we? So um, I found this one really funny that I actually shared it this morning. You obsess about all the toxins and chemicals you think are harming us in our foods, yet you drink alcohol, get Botox, get fillers, go tanning, use unregulated supplements like
hmm
crack, vape, never eat a fruit or vegetable, barely exercise.
hmm
What, what were your
Yeah,
thoughts there?
well, because I think people just don't really think before they speak. I don't, people don't understand that everything is a chemical. Like, so when you start spouting off that you're eating chemicals, I'm like, okay, you don't even know that water's a chemical, that you're a chemical. Basic science, right? So it's like, but then they have no problem smoking cigarettes, buying endless supplements online that you have no idea what's in them, mixing and matching your weird supplements with your antidepressants and everything else that you're taking, like pharmaceuticals, right? And then you're getting Botox, you're injecting rat fucking poison in your face, but you're like gonna freak out because I'm drinking a Diet Coke. Like none of that shit makes sense. None of it makes sense. It's like so hypocritical. Or if you're drinking alcohol and you're like, how come you're drinking a diet soda? That's poison, but you're drinking the poison. So, you know,
Yeah,
that's
that happens a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. It's actually mind-boggling,
Yeah. And
that too.
I think the most recent like in-person example I had of this. It didn't happen that long ago. It was and I don't want to like fault the mother in this situation because I know she is coming from like a place of them wanting to do good, and I think they just hear a lot of misinformation. But
Yeah.
it was basically banning her son from having ketchup because the ketchup had a little bit of a high fructose corn syrup in
Mm.
while she was simultaneously drinking alcohol. And funnily enough, the kid actually pointed that out. He was like, "But you're drinking alcohol, so why can't I just have a bit of ketchup?" She was like, "It's not the same." Yeah, I was surprised, and she was like, "It's not the same," and just listen to me, and that was it. So no
Oh,
ketchup for him
geez.
on his burger.
That's cray.
Yeah, I thought that was like.
I mean, and just think about like, oh my God, what a smart child to say that though.
Yeah, I thought that as well. I did not. I watched from the sides. I didn't get involved, but I was like, "What?" That was very impressive from him to have that
Wow. Yeah.
awareness.
How old was
Yeah,
he?
no, teenager, like early teens,
Okay.
high school age, high school.
Okay. Good enough.
Which,
Smart. Yeah. Old enough to know.
yeah, yeah. So
Good
he
for
already
him.
there's an awareness there. Like you can see that.
Yeah. So that's good. Right.
Yeah, yeah. But I thought, but that's just the prime example. It's exactly what you meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I'm sure you've heard it yourself. I'm sure you get flooded with it in the comments.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. I've been called a lot of names for it too. Like you call yourself a health coach and you drink Diet Coke. Alcohol is natural. It comes from grapes. I'm just you not. I'm just like, oh my God. And then I have to think about like actually that was me at one point. I because I was an alcoholic and I was orthorexic. I had a very horrible relationship with food. And I was a drunk. And I used to give my husband shit for, having ice cream, having different, sugary items, and I was binge drinking wine every night. Like so I have to look at it as like, alcohol is an addictive substance. Some people have a horrible relationship with it. And really think of it as their best friend. And God forbid, someone's like poo-poos on the alcohol. And I have to like take a step back sometimes and remember that that was actually me. And at some point, they will probably come around and realize it. But for now, they're just in the thick of it, you know?
Yeah. And would you
So.
say that it's usually comments about alcohol, like more or less based on the list that you said and type of comments you get when they're like trying to like get at you? Would you say it's more like
Yeah,
alcohol
it's more
related
like
comments that are popular?
yeah, well, if I ever compare like Diet Coke to alcohol, they'll start going in the comments section about how aspartame is causes cancer. I mean, it's just the mental gymnastics that they go after with it. It's off the wall.
It's impressive. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. But it's as you said, it kind of
it is. Yeah. It just
yeah,
shows how prevalent the alcohol is with a lot of people.
mm. Would you
You
say
know,
oh go on?
I know that so many women they struggle with alcohol in their 40s and mostly in their 40s and 50s because A, it's a tough time, and they use alcohol to cope. And a lot of our clients struggle with alcohol. They want to lose fat, they want to get better, but a lot of them they drink way too much. It's affecting their fat loss, and you have to kind of make that decision. Like, is this really something I want to continue doing, or should I continue doing binge drinking on the weekend when I'm 45? You know? So it's a lot more prevalent than we think, especially here in the US.
And so, like, let's say the listener is in that position where they want to improve their health, lose some body fat,
Hmm.
and they're like, yeah, I probably do have an issue with alcohol, even though they might not
Hmm.
admit it out loud. They're probably thinking that deep down.
Yeah.
What do you think could be a good place to start with that, having been through it?
Um, I think like a challenge, right? Jordan Syatt loves challenge. Are you still in the group, the mentorship?
I was in it for 4 years, and then I left. I was 2 months ago. I said thank you so much
Oh, okay.
because
Yeah.
I loved it. Like I would, if you like, 10 out of 10 recommend it. But it'd been four
Yeah.
years, and I was like, you
Yeah.
know what? Like I like to challenge myself with like Jordan says he likes to have a new coach every year. I was like, you know what?
Hmm.
Like I think it could be quite a good. I don't want to call it a challenge, but just to hear maybe slightly different type of messaging, but I always recommend it to anyone who asks me. Like they've changed
Nice.
with so many things for me, and I love
Yeah.
Mike and Jordan, and I've always said if you guys come here, please let me know, because yeah,
Hmm.
you guys are the best. And they wrote um is it an abstract for my book? So like that
Hmm.
was amazing for them.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
awesome.
So yeah,
Fuck
I
yeah.
love those guys. Yeah.
So, I know I went all squirrel on you. I'm sorry.
No, no, go ahead.
So I think a challenge, like even like start with a 14-day, or I like a 30-day no alcohol challenge. And see how you feel. I think that's the most important thing is that people don't actually give themselves a chance to understand or see how they start to feel about it. Um, so if you can do a 30-day challenge, no alcohol for 30 days, and see how you feel by the end of the 30 days. Be consistent with all your tracking and everything else and see what happens. And then, from there, you can maybe start incorporating it back, or maybe you might realize that you don't really need it as much as you thought. So that's what I always usually suggest to start is a challenge. We do those with a lot of our people. And a lot of the times, some of them will not start drinking again, which is amazing. You realize a lot of things when you take 30 days off, right? Unless you have more of an addiction in which you may need to go seek further help for, right? Because sometimes people are more addicted than they actually think. Um, Especially if that 30-day challenge of no alcohol scares you and you tell yourself you can't do it. Well, if you can't do that, you may have more of a problem with alcohol than you want to admit. And you need to take a look at that,
Mm. But is the
right?
challenge something that worked for yourself, if you don't mind me asking?
No, I personally needed to go to AA. I was more of an addict. I was deep in the throes of alcoholism for sure. So I need more than a 30-day challenge.
Okay. All
I
right.
gave myself a million of them. I would do like 30 days no alcohol, but I would pick it back up and be worse than I was before. I did a bunch of them, no
Mm.
drinking spells, but I always came back and drank more.
Yeah. But now
Yeah.
it's amazing to see where you are now, because now it's a big part of your story, and I know a lot
Yeah.
of people can relate hearing to you when you discuss it. Um,
Yeah.
was there anything else you wanted to mention about anything before I go to the next one?
No, you can move forward.
Okay, so
These are fun.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I wish I had more, but like you said, you don't post too much on there, so I was
I
trying my hardest, like to
know.
yeah, that I thought like could have fun conversation. If you see anyone that claims to be evidence-based saying that they use colostrum and
Hmm.
athletic greens, immediate red flag, and then loads of red flag emojis.
Hmm. Yeah. That came from, so I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Gabrielle Lyons.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know.
Well, I used to like her. Thought she was a very smart woman. Actually, she is a very smart woman. I shouldn't say she's not, but I just liked what she had to say about, building muscle and about women. And she kind of like over the past year has just been going from like doctor to influencer to and you could see it. And it was like she went from this person that was like kind of an educator to going into grocery stores wearing a fucking sports bra and like leggings and telling you, is what in your cart killing you or is it making you healthier? Like she turned into this like kind of, whoa, what the fuck was that? And then she made this what I eat in a day video. And it was basically colostrum, athletic greens mixed in with her like kind of carnivore-ish diet, like everything. It was like supplements everywhere and like product placement. And there was a couple of other things that she did before that. And it was just like building up in my brain. Like she's like super shady now. What the fuck happened to her? So I called her out. I was like, anybody that fucking like you're like sitting here, like what happened? Like that athletic greens are shit. Colostrum is shit. And here you are like selling the stuff. And it's like for me, immediately you start like selling things that people don't need, you're done. That's how I feel about you. It's like I no longer have respect for you because you don't care about people no longer. You care about your pocket more than people. And that just rubs me really the wrong way.
Did she ever respond?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. Um,
Yeah.
and just to clarify, maybe the listener is thinking, they probably have an idea by this point, but like maybe just to clarify, what exactly is colostrum and athletic greens, in case they're
Hmm.
wondering.
I believe it's cow breast milk. It's just like it's colostrum is breast milk.
Okay, and then athletic
It's what
greens.
comes out of the nipple before the milk.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
And then athletic greens is probably like, I'm assuming some sort of like
Yeah, it's just greens
vegetable
powders.
powder, greens powder type of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There is well, I'm sure the listener knows this by this point, but yeah, no need for it. Waste of money.
No.
Just eat
Yeah.
your vegetables. Yeah.
Right. Season that shit.
Yeah, see how you got there before me. Um, yeah. There is yeah, it is a big red flag. And I did see those videos that you made calling her out. To be honest, I didn't even know if this post was at her because I saw the video, but then I was like, this post could literally go for hundreds of people online, like
Oh yeah.
who are making just odd content, with so many people
Hmm.
promoting supplements. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's great that you're taking a stand so that a lot of people don't feel like they need to
Yeah, I
take it
mean,
because.
it took me a while to call her out because it's, she's got a big platform. She knows a lot of people, but it's like I would call Flave City out. So what makes her any different? She's doing the same thing. Um, it's not to me, it's not being rude. It's just like this is how did you become this person? Like why did you go this way when you know that these people don't need this? Like that's to me, it's just fucked up. Especially for people like us that look up to people that are evidence-based and basically are educators, right? And to me, it's like that's you're not educating anybody anymore. Like what are you
Mm,
doing?
yeah,
So
and
it's frustrating.
yeah, I agree. And it's good because I know when I was a teenager, I was extremely susceptible to buying supplements, anything that, you know,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't know better, like, but if it was someone that I thought I could trust and they were promoting something, um, I would go out and buy that supplement sometimes. And I remember at one point my room looked like a supplement store almost. I did work at a supplement store, funnily enough. So
Hmm.
I have some leeway there. I had great staff discounts. But yeah, most of it was unnecessary. I remember even
Yeah.
standing in a store like thinking, is it like L-carnitine, something like that?
Hmm.
Like thinking, should I buy that? Should I not? Like, and I stood there for like a while, like as a teenager, thinking, I think I should get that. But it was too much money. But I had convinced myself that I did need it, based on what I was seeing online. So it's yeah,
Hmm.
from that, when you think about it like that, yeah, it's good that people are
Yeah,
just.
people are very influenced, right? I mean, what's really sad is if I came up with a supplement line, I could probably make a lot of money off of it.
Mm, yeah,
Think about it. Anybody that has a really huge following that you build this trust with people and then, that they go and do the supplement thing. And I think a lot of people do that and it's fucked up. It's like because they know they're like, okay, I've built the trust. Next, we do the supplements,
and
because I could put my name on it and up the price and be like, you guys need this. And then they'll be like, yeah, I trust you so much. It's like, it's not
that's a
cool.
common one,
It's
unfortunately.
very common. Yeah,
Yeah.
super common.
Um, I'm gonna okay, I'll go to the next one. So, imagine the possibilities when you take accountability for your own fucking actions. Personal
Hmm.
responsibility goes a long way. What
Hmm.
gave you the inspiration for that one?
I'm trying to remember.
To be
But I think a lot of people are just not honest with themselves and they'll do these things like I'm doing everything or I just don't understand why, you know, it's the a lot of times we know what the fuck we're doing, right? I know for me, like a lot of times I knew I was lying to myself, but I just kept doing it. And I think it's like as soon as you just own up to the fact that, you're not doing everything that you need to do and stop like bitching about it. Just like own up to your shit. A lot of people just don't want to own up to their shit. It's and they just stay stuck.
Hmm. Yeah, I think like one of the biggest examples that comes to mind for this is I made a post the other day about It was just something along the lines of, I'm gonna butcher it a bit right now, but like it was just something along the lines of like most people who say they're eating 1,000 calories. Usually, it's more like over 2,000 when you actually like take
Yeah.
into account the fact that they're very loosely tracking or they're
Hmm.
guessing a lot, etc. And I got a lot of like. I had a lot of people agreeing with me, and I don't want to just focus on the negative, but I also had a lot of people being
Hmm.
like, "What the fuck? It is my hormones. It is this. It is that." And I thought that was
Hmm.
just yeah, proving the point of my post, almost ironically.
Yeah.
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 Hormones is a big one when people don't want to
Hmm.
change, I think. And that's not to
Yeah.
say it's an invalid point, but and it can be true, like in some scenarios, but there are definitely occasions where I think people go,
Yeah, I think if more people just focused on doing the boring basics, like they don't want to do the boring basics and they keep searching for other shit. But if they actually just did the boring basics, they would understand that they would probably start to feel a lot better. You know what I'm saying? Like hormonal balance. I hate that word balance because they're never really balanced, but optimization, I also hate that word. But if you want to talk about like optimizing hormones and all that stuff, it's like the boring basics, sleep, right? Hydration, strength training, walking, fiber, protein, all the boring things that no one wants to do. But live, your life would be so much better if you actually just focused on that. And then you could see if you actually, in fact, still feel like shit and need to look at other things, but you don't even get yourself to that fucking point, right? So you keep consistently searching for things that aren't wrong with you when you could just fix with a fucking balanced diet and just being an active human.
yeah. People don't want the boring basics when they can do something exciting, like just eat, like what is it, liver, meat, and
Chew a
organs
gummy,
forever,
you know?
and like and just like
Uh,
live in carnivore, yeah.
yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it does. Yeah, and that funnily, and that's the type of I think people as well that like if those types of fad diets definitely attract. Was there anything else you wanted to say before I move on? I know I keep saying that,
Nah.
but I want to make sure. Okay, so um, it always amazes me when I see female coaches in their 50s, mind you, with thick skin, thin abs year
Hmm.
round, claiming they live a sustainable lifestyle and you can look like this too.
Hmm.
You're lying out of your fucking ass.
Hmm. 100%. Right. Um, it drives me nuts, and they're everywhere. They're everywhere on online, and it's like these women in their 50s, they're fucking shred town, right? Um, and they live that way, like year round. And you hear them talk, and the things they say that they're living a super rigid life. I don't eat sugar. I don't eat out. If you want to be like this, you need to be super fucking disciplined. And if you want to, have an eight pack, it's like, well, if you do want to have an eight pack, you do need to be extremely rigid, like forever. Like who can live like that? That's not realistic. That's not real life at all. And currently I'm going through a bikini prep phase because I'm doing a photo shoot at the end of August. And I'm basically training and dieting like a bodybuilder. So I'm going through this for initially to do this photo shoot, and now it's like morphed into different reasons why I'm doing it, and it's to show women that they can do anything in their 50s. And another thing is to show women how hard it actually is to become extremely lean.
How are you finding that so far? That process?
Very, very fucking hard. I'm hungry all the time, like literally hungry. I was so hungry this morning, I was nauseous. You
Okay.
know, just but I'm almost a month in. I have a 4 day like refeed right now, so I'm going into maintenance for 4 days, which is completely needed. But it's very just I'm tracking specific macronutrients. So my carbohydrates are like 110 grams, my fats 50 grams, and carbs are 130. So my calories are around 1400. They're going lower next week. But for me, that's low. Like I am so hungry on 1400 calories. And also I've never been the one to like, I was just, if I'm going to track calories, it was like protein and calories, not carbs, fats. Like I wasn't a macro tracker. So I know that my body's like, oh my God, 110 carbs. I was eating way more than that. So there was an initial phase of like at least 3 weeks where I was really like tired, and just felt shitty. I'm starting to come out of it right now, but yeah, it's not easy. It's very disciplined. You got 12,000 steps a day on my non-workout days, 16,000 steps a day on my, oh, 12,000 steps on my workout days, 16,000 on my non-workout days. You know, yeah.
That's a lot for
So
someone who lives remote.
it,
So yeah, and the fact that you're doing that
yeah.
is impressive.
Yeah. So when I get up in the morning, it's like 30 minutes on the treadmill, take my dog for walks all day. It's literally, I have to, like I'm walking all day.
Your dog is probably having the best time of his life
Right.
right now. Yeah.
So it's not easy. And that's what it's like, no, you don't want to live like this. Like when I'm done with this, I'm going to be done. Like I can't imagine trying to, and we'll see I guess, well, how that goes. Like staying that fucking lean would take a lot of work.
Yeah. And
So I just, I hate when people see other women online that live like that and think that that's something that's healthy and attainable,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. And there is a lot of, yeah, they are um definitely there is a lot of people who mislead and say, oh yeah, this is you can do this by living sustainably, etc., etc. And often it's like, nah, I like the extent to get to that and stay like that, a lot of
Hmm.
hard work goes into it. I don't know why they
Yeah.
I have an idea why they're doing that, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah, they're lying out their
And
fucking ass.
yeah, and then not to mention, these are the people that come out like years later, and they're like, oh, "That was the worst time of my life. I was, losing my hair. I didn't have a period." It's like you can fucking see it, right? Oh yeah, 2027. That's what she's gonna do. And it's like, yeah, I could have fucking told you that. And people are like, I can't believe you lied. It's like I mean, come on, it's pretty obvious.
From this whole like prep process that you've been going through for the photo shoot and the other goals, would you say there's been like an unexpected and I'm sure you expected a lot of things, but was there like something that was genuinely unexpected that you're finding really challenging?
I think the hunger.
Mm.
Because I've done calorie deficits before and never felt really this hungry. And I'm like, is it because I'm 52? Or and no, it's because I'm eating in a really low calorie deficit, and I'm getting a lot of activity. So I'm also more muscular than I was, like, because we've been training for this. I mean, I've been strength training for 7+ years now, but this whole entire year I was in like maintenance, a slight surplus, and we were really training for this. Um, so 1,400 calories for me is very low.
Yeah, for someone very physically active, yeah, that is
Yeah,
really
and I'm
low.
5'7", so you know,
Yeah.
it's what I chose, and this is what they do. It's
Hmm.
because you have a specific date. It's not like it can be like, yeah, I'm going to take my time, go into like, a slow little deficit. It's like, no, we got 3 months, da da da. We're going to do this, this, and this. We have to do that. Everything's regimented, which is also not what I recommend for people, right? So, um, having a timeline is usually not something I recommend, but we have a timeline. So we have goals. We no time not to be consistent, right?
No, absolutely. Yeah,
So,
that yeah, it's been a overall it's been a really fun chat having you on, having you here. It's been almost an hour. This has flown by. You mentioned you were enjoying this earlier. I'm really glad because a part of me was like, I hope she doesn't feel like this is like a fucking police interrogation type. But yeah,
oh, this is super
yeah,
fun.
yeah,
Stop.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, but so yeah, that was fun. Was there anything you wanted to say from everything overall before finishing this podcast episode? Like that we
Hmm.
maybe didn't touch on or could have gone deeper on that you want to
If
mention
you're
now?
thinking, I would like to say, if you're thinking about starting like a fat loss journey or whatever, just start. But I think so many people just they collect recipes, they collect videos, and they never fucking do anything, right? They're waiting for the perfect time. They're waiting for this, waiting for that. Just you could start with anything. I just start anywhere. A 10-minute walk. More protein on your plate, more vegetables, but you just have to start. Start scared. Is that, what I say? Start
Yeah,
scared. Do it
yeah,
scared.
yeah, absolutely. Always they're trying to always learn more, watch another video, listen to the same podcast
Yeah.
that they've heard on that subject already like
Hmm.
50 times.
Oh
They're
my God.
aware and it's like you don't need to hear this again. And I absolutely agree because the thing about all of that is that I think it's like once you actually get started, you actually start to you that's how you learn.
That's how
That's
you
actually
start
how you
building
learn.
momentum and stuff,
Yeah,
right?
you
Yeah.
that's how you
Yeah.
build momentum. That's when you start realizing things maybe you didn't know before and you start to learn as you're doing it. Like you're not actually
Hmm.
going to get the experience that you want and the lessons and that come with it if you're always just procrastinating that start date and trying to,
Yeah.
put it off. Like it's
Exactly.
actually doing it where you pick up those things as you go along. So yeah,
Hmm.
no, I think
Yeah.
that was a brilliant thing to end on because I see that all the time.
Yeah.
People just putting it on and then yeah, for a reason that when they say it out loud, they probably realize that they probably don't need to be doing that.
Right.
Yeah. Where can people find you?
You could find me at Beth Feraco Fitness on Instagram, on TikTok, same username. I have a podcast called Cut the Crap with Beth and Matt on Spotify, iTunes, anywhere you can listen to a podcast. And my website is bethferracofitness.com. So you can find me there too.
Yeah,
I think that's
and
it.
if you're listening, I would absolutely recommend following Beth. I'll leave your show note, your social media handles on your website as a hyperlink in the show
Awesome.
notes of this podcast episode. I've listened to your podcast quite a few times now. It's fantastic. So definitely check
Yay.
that
Thank
out too.
you.
And yeah, otherwise, again, thank you so much for coming on, Beth.
Thanks for having me.